We begin this hour in Diepsloot, where there's been major developments overnight. A man who has been killed has now been identified as Elvis Nyathi. No arrests, we're told, have yet been made in connection with his murder. Residents angry about crime in the area. They say government inaction and an influx of illegal migrants, according to residents, have made the situation worse. Police say 24 people have been arrested since yesterday's running battles with police. My co-anchor Ayanda Nyathi is standing by. Our reporter Newzroom Afrika is in another part of Diepsloot. We'll speak to him in just a moment. But Ayanda, you are with the partner of the deceased this morning.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Good morning to you, Michelle. And words really do fail us when we try to describe the kind of heartache and pain that we've been able to ascertain with the short time that we have spent here in this part of Diepsloot. We're in an area called Number 1. Some of the residents we spoke to say this is where a lot of what we saw actually take place yesterday actually began. But as you mentioned, a big part of our coverage this morning has been around trying to find out what took place in the early hours of this morning, hours, frankly, after Police Minister Bheki had just left this community after learning that at least one man has been killed in what is now clearly becoming, as we understand it, an issue of mob justice. As you've mentioned, I'm sitting right next to a woman who's arguably going through one of the worst moments of her life. Her name is Nomsa Chuma. She's the wife of this man who we now know was killed yesterday. Sabonama. Of course, she's also fielding a lot of, I guess, questions and calls from family. Mam Nomsa, lente nzakala la izolo ngempela namagama ngisho sinawo. Ngicela usichazele wena ngokwazi kwakho ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Mina vele ngiyakusho ukuthi sizwa abantu benokha next door bethi ID passport bechaya imkhukhu. Bethi ID passport. So mina ubaba enhlala naye kana passport. Mina imengene passport. Besebenzise aslam vele. So babe bechaya imkhukhu sithe sizuthi bathi ID passport. Ubaba lathi kungcono sicatshene emuva anti sibone ukuthi kade vele bahamba ngani anti sacatsha kuyimi ngumavelas la Elvis. Sacatsha emuva kwemkhukhu ngapha kodwa kune passage khona safika sahlala epassage. Masifike sihlale epassage sizwe sebenokha lapha egate sebekhipha bonke abasejaradeni. ID passport nalokho esicatshile sithi ngcono sibacatshele sibone enxe bazosibulala. Besingacabangeli ukuthi ngabantu abanganjani. Abangabuya benze kanje bebulala abantu. Sacatsha bazibanga ngathi sebekhanya kulomunye kade sebaleka bamgijimisa phezulu kwemkhukhu. Mabemgijimisa phezulu kwemkhukhu befika lapho kade sisikhona thina sicatshe khona. Bafika basibona. Mabe sibona mina kusho ukuthi abanginanzelelanga ukuthi bangibone. Babona laba bayithu Marvelous lo Elvis. Mabe bona Marvelous lo Elvis bethi nampa amasela. Yiba babulala abantu. Mina ngathula uMarvelous lo besithebe sizwa kanjalo. Bahle baphuma babaleka. Bezama ukuthi bazivikele ukuthi incenye njani. Bengathola la icebo lokuyacasha. Njengoba sebebabona ince bazobabulala bebengakwazi na. Bagijima baphuma kwele jarada le next door lapho sicatshe khona. Mina ngasala ngihleli khona apha emuva ngiwani. Ngithe mbona ukuthi sengihleli kakhulu ngathi sokuthulise behambe nabo ngabe ngijika. Ngibuya ngene emkhukhwini kaMaki ngihlala khona. Mangifika ngihlala emkhukhwini kaMaki. Babebuya nayo Elvis. Semchayile vele ngasakhanda ukuthi egcwele igazi indawo yonke. Mabesuka lapho bemchabe embuza ukuthi uhlala nobani wathi ngihlala nonkosikazi wami uNomsa Chuma wangikhuluma igama babuya bazonithatha emkhukhwini lo oka Prince bathi sidinga uNomsa Chuma. Babuya bazonithatha bangena nami emkhukhwini bathi sikuphi isibhamu wena. Ngabatshela ukuthi hayi lapha kuna sibhamu sicheckeni yonke indawo libone checkani lina kuna sibhamu lapha kodwa sebevele bafuza mina ngakangena bakhipha impahla zonke mina ngakafiki. Thole vele sebekhiphe yonke into bedinga leso sibhamu ukuthi laba abantu ababalekile bokuthi ukuthi ngamasela.
Should bebazi nanokuthi nihlala ngakuphi?
Hayi babuye nayo Elvis wazobakhomba ukuthi nihlala la. Mina bengibale uElvis wabatshela ukuthi ubebalekele esizwa kuthiwa ID passport ngoba yena kanazo lezo zinto.
Lento ngiyaxolisa ukuphazamisa lento eyenzakala ebhlungu ngendlela eyisimanga. Wena uzizwa kanjani khona namhlanje kuseni?
Angibuhlungu kakhulu ngilahlekelwe kakhulu ngoba abantu abami bazohlupheka.
Senhleli ningakhi nengane?
Nabantwana abayi-4.
Siyeke lapho siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ukwazi ukuthi ukhulume nathi ma. An obviously really difficult situation, as you can see there, and I'm just going to, out of respect for a woman who's in grief, leave it there. Some of the questions she's been able to ask or answer, beg your pardon, have helped us piece together what might have taken place yesterday. And a quick summary in translation, she's mentioned to us that, essentially there was a group of people who were demanding passports from her, from a neighbor, as well as from her husband. She was able to present a passport, but sadly the husband wasn't, and now it appears that's cost him his life.
Incredibly distressing story coming there out of Diepsloot. Ayanda, thanks very much for that difficult interview. That murder taking place, as far as we can piece together again from the timelines, just hours after Police Minister Becky Cele addressed that community in Diepsloot last night. We continue our coverage this morning of those protests. In fact, a friend of Elvis Nyathi has shared with Newzroom Afrika his ordeal. Ayanda Nyathi caught up with him, and he filed this report.
All right, so we're still trying to piece together what exactly took place in Diepsloot the morning after the police minister had left. We already heard of one person who was allegedly killed in a moment of mob justice. We're now going to speak to one of his neighbors who witnessed what actually took place. Buti sabonga isikhathi sakho sibonga nokuthi ukhulume nathi uzwile ngenkathi yonke lento yenzakala izolo kwenzakaleni?
Ya bengikhona ngenkathi yonke into le yenzakala. Bephuma besiyalala abantu bebangumsindo bengena behamba besearcha lo muntu wazama ukubaleka so lapha abaleka wacatsha khona angengikwazi ukuthi becatshe kuphi mina ngahlala endlini ngathi ngcono bembulale isendlini babuya la abantu basearcha baswela into izibhamu lezi izikhala abazifunayo bathi ayisalani lilale angazi ukuthi lana uElvis bavuse kuphi khona ngalapha bekhona bacabanga ukuthi nguyo lesibhamu kanti bebaleka ibhasa bathi nguyo lesibhamu bamsearcha bambamba babuya naye endlini bafika endlini yakhe basearcha futhi bangazitholi izibhamu kodwa bamchaya bathi nguye kufuze khuphi izibhamu ngenazo.
Ungitshela ukuthi babafuna nama passport?
Bebehamba bebuza bethi passport lilawo yini passport lilawo. That's why yami ngiphethe khona la.
uElvis njoba kuumuntu bekade niphilisana naye kwakuumuntu onjani yena?
Hawe ngumuntu right nje emphakathini ubengahlukumeza imphakathi besebenzela yaseyala imisebenzi yahlupha ubele peace job yange Saturday le peace job yange Wednesday iyo abethola ngayo kuphila.
Siyabona nala ekhaya baba kusahlangahlangene ngathi kwakune izinto ebezenzakala khona nala endlini.
Ya yibo laba abantu abafike baphamisa yonke into balahla baphamisa okwamanje selibona songcono basembuyise ene befuna ukunchisa ngegasi. That's the major problem. I can't understand what was going on.
Wena waphunyuka kanjani bo bakudedela ngoba wena une passport?
Bandedele ngoba mina vele passport bengabaleki babona yonke into yami right njalo abanye besebezwela ingane yami bethi kanti lo mntwana unomfazi ngabazo bethi hayi simekele nasambeni kuthi uthi lo muntu right.
Ukuphila la eDiepsloot sekuyabonakala ukuthi ngempela kuba ingozi. Wena uzizwa kanjani njengomuntu osohlala la ekhaya?
Ukuphila lapha kusaphephile nginje ngisacabanga ukumuva khona lapha ngoba ngibona ukuthi ngalikhona ukulala futhi esimeni lesi ngisibone senzakala namhlanje.
Siyabonga kakhulu baba sibonga ukuthi ukhulume nathi. So there you have it, one of the neighbors who witnessed in part what actually took place yesterday. I'll just translate the thrust of what he's had to tell us. He says, he was sitting here as would be expected for any South African family, enjoying TV, and next thing he knew, there were people going door to door demanding to see the passports of those who are living within this area. The victim, we're told, didn't have a passport on his hand. Apparently, they were also looking for guns, and none were found. But it almost seems, at least from what we've been able to piece together from his recollection, that it is this victim's inability to present a passport to this mob that sadly cost him his life. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ayanda Nyathi in Diepsloot.